All right, so welcome back to another one, guys. This is a fairly requested video. So for those of you that's new to the channel, in 2018 I started building a boat, and I built a 25-foot boat. It's 86.5 inches at the bottom, 102 inches wide at the top, 25 foot long, 3/16 plate steel or plate aluminum all the way around, with 28-inch sides. So it's a big boat, right? One of the biggest projects that I've ever really undertaken. There's 102 pounds of weld wire in the boat and the trailer that I built. So, you know, pretty fair sized project. If those of you that's new would like to check out the videos, I did like an 18-part series on it. I'll leave a playlist to what I did there in the description. You can check that out. So anyway, it's been about a year since I've been running this boat basically finished and hard. So I thought it'd be neat to do an update video. I know a lot of you guys have requested that. So we're gonna jump right into the video here, and I'm just gonna kind of walk you guys through, you know, walk you through the boat again, let you know what changes I've made, a little bit more specs and different things like that. Now, here's the thing. I know the vast majority of you, your biggest question is, what did this boat cost? And here's the thing, I know that number, but you guys are gonna have to help me out to learn that. So if this video gets 5,000 likes, I mean, you're gonna have to hit that like button to know how much this boat cost. If this video gets 5,000 likes, I'll do a breakdown, because I have all the receipts and everything. We'll do a breakdown. I'll share with you how much I actually saved and what this boat cost me. All right, so let's get started here. I'll start at the back and I'll walk you through the front here. All right, so we'll move to the poor man's power poles. I had a lot of questions about that, so I'll show you guys a little bit about the poor man's power paddles, the drift paddles. Anyway, these are my poor man's power poles, right? So what I wanted something that would slow my drift down, slow my, you know, at idle speed. With this 200 here, I can only get down to about 2.8 mile an hour. So I wanted something to slow myself down, since I did not put a kicker motor on this boat. As well as, you know, in river current situations, you know, a lot of times you'll throw out a drift sock behind you if you're anchored up to keep the back of the boat from swaying, but then you have to fight your fish around that drift sock. With these, I can drop these down in the water. They create enough drag to pull that boat straight, keep it straight in the current, and I don't have to deal with the drift sock. So what this is 2-inch square tubing, and I made a sleeve for it, welded it full length down the transom. And then here at the bottom here, I've got a roughly a 1 foot by 10-inch piece of plate. And these plates, I've got a pin here, and I can drop these in different increments. And it'll actually slow my speed down in varying increments. I can get this boat now down to 1.6 mile an hour. I can actually, with both of them all the way down, I've dropped 1.2 mile an hour off my idle speed, which is just enough for slow trolling. So pretty happy with how they turned out. They did not cost me anywhere near what a standard drift paddle or a power pole or anything else does. They work out real well. As well as in the back, you know, I can put my net in here. I've got a net holder. They're low profile. They're not bad to work around. I fish a lot out of the very back of this boat, and I didn't want something sticking up 4 or 5 feet. So very happy with those. All right, so like I said, they work great for what I do. I control this boat down to 1.6, 1.8. And like, you know, today being on the river, you can put them down and it holds that back of your boat just perfectly still, and you don't have to deal with drift socks or anything. So pretty happy with those. They've worked out very well. So a lot of you guys have been questioning these rod holders here. Let me show you those there. So these rod holders here, these are, let me grab a rod here and I'll just show you. So these are Fulby rod holders. They're real popular out west, and I don't know why they really haven't gained traction in the Midwest or the South, but they're a locking rod holder. You can just stick a rod in there. That rod can't go anywhere. It can't fall out. You can put, I mean, I've caught some big blues, got hung up trolling, you know, musky baits at like 4 and 5 mile an hour. They're just very strong rod holders. And then whenever you want to, you know, pull the rod out, it's just as simple as that. You just grab the rod, and there's nothing to it. You don't have to, so if you're catfishing, you know, and you got a real big bend in a pole, you don't have to fight to get that rod out with a long handle rod. You just lift up and you're good to go. So if y'all are interested in those, I'll leave a link to those in the description below. You can check them out. But I actually had these on my old boat and I moved them onto this boat. I've had them for several years. They're the best rod holder that I can find for an all-around multi-species rod holder. All right, so as you guys can see here, this boat is, well, let me just show you the floor. So as you can see, I've got stuff everywhere, right? And I like this fact of I can have all my rods on the catwalk. I've probably got 15 rods on the catwalk right now because trying to bring you guys 2 videos a week, you know, I may have to fish for multiple different species in a trip to get a video for you guys. So I've got like all my catfishing rods over there on that side. I've got my crappie rods on this side, my trolling rods all laid out, and I've still got like half a dozen rods in the rod locker. And I can put all this stuff in the rod locker if I want to, but having everything out in the open just really is quick and efficient to get everything out. You know, as well as, you know, we don't do so much spider rigging anymore. Now Live Scopes came out, but you know, with 16-foot rods, I can lay the long rods, even the 12-footers out, and not have to break them down each individual time. So having this catwalk has just proved invaluable in this boat. I'm so glad that I put that, and it's just 10 inches wide, but you can see I just got it packed, and with the rod holders, everything stays nice, neat, doesn't beat around. Very happy with that feature. So we'll move to the motor here. So this is, of course, this is a 200. It's a Pro 4-stroke. It's a supercharged model. Great power. Been very happy with this motor. I just checked the hours. I've got 298 hours on this boat right now, or on this motor. So in just over a year's time, that's quite a few hours, considering I haven't really trolled in the last, I really haven't trolled a lot with this boat. I may in the future, but yeah, it's been a great motor. I can get this boat up to 51 mile an hour if I want to. I've done it like 3 times. I'm not one of those guys that goes super fast. Not to mention, at full tilt with this big motor, you're burning like 23 gallons an hour. So you don't want to go too fast too long. But no, running 30 mile an hour, which is a good planed out speed. It's this thing's running, you know, it's burning like 6.5, 7 gallon an hour. It planes out real nice. That's kind of my happy medium, is at 30 to 32 mile an hour. Running about 3,800 to 4 grand. So been very happy with that. The power steering's awesome. Jack plate's great. All my live wells have worked out perfect. So we'll move on here. I have changed a few things on the back console area, as you'd call it here. So whenever I built this boat, Live Scope hadn't existed yet, and I pretty much jumped on the Live Scope bandwagon, you know, pretty early in the game. Found out I really enjoyed it. You know, it's been pretty instrumental in the way I've been able to fish. You know, I've changed a lot of my tactics and things. So I've ended up going with I've got a 1022 Garmin here in the back alongside my Helix 12, and then I've got a 1222 and a Helix 12 up front. But I'm running 2 Live Scope transducers. That's what this thing here is. This is a remote pole that I made, and I have actually adapted it to my track system, so where I can move it up and down the track system. In the winter time, I use it a lot whenever I spot lock on a brush pile. I can still stay on that brush pile, even though the trolling motor head, which is where my second Live Scope transducer is, whenever it's doing its thing, moving around. And then here recently, I've been using it a lot to follow schools of white bass around. So I can follow the schools of white bass around, spot lock with the front, and then you know, see the screen on the back here, and you know, follow the schools around and cast to them. So it's been pretty fun. I really enjoyed this. It's been a neat little tool. And then, like I said, in the fall, I can just move it right on my track system. I built that mount just for that. So that was one thing that I changed. I built that. Really, other than that, not a whole lot. I'll pull the camera off the tripod here and just kind of give you guys a walkthrough of what this boat is. But you know, been very happy with it. So I've had this boat and I put 15,000 miles on the trailer. I've had this boat literally from the top of the country to the bottom of the country. Took this boat to Canada last fall. Took it down to Texas this spring, and had it on the big rivers, small rivers, big lakes, small lakes. It's fished a lot of different places, 4 or 5 different states anyway, and 2 countries now. So been very happy with that. Whenever we were up in Canada, we were in some legit 7 to 8 footers for a good couple of days, handled it well. And then I've been, you know, and I had multiple times of 4 and 5 footers with this boat, and it just kind of runs right over top of those. So yeah, it'll handle a big wave real nice. Building that boat on a 15-degree haul all the way through, it really throws the water out. You know, you still end up getting a little bit of spray in the back if you've got a crosswind, which, you know, normally whenever you got those big waves, you've got a crosswind. That being said, it's because it's a tiller. You know, if I was to have a console up front, you'd be completely dry, but you do get a little spray once you start breaking them, you know, 3, 4 footers, but it's nothing big. And like I said, it's just because you break the wave so far ahead with the wind, it wraps around. But you know, it's just what you get with a big boat. So very happy with how it performs in the big water. It's so heavy, it just pushes straight through those waves. Whenever we were up in Canada bridging those 7 to 8 footers, it would actually bridge the wave, bridge the trough whenever you were going into them, and you wouldn't get that big dip effect like I did with my old 18 footer. You know, you drop down in the trough of those big waves, you know, where you couldn't see land basically. This boat here was long enough that it'll actually bridge the troughs of those big swells, and you kind of stay on top. So been very happy with the performance of that. All right, so like I said, I've done nothing cleaned up for you guys or anything. This is what this boat looks like after a day of fishing. So like I said, this is what we've got here. We've got the console area. You can see I've got my rods everywhere. That's a little better view of the remote live scope transducer pole that I built. You can see it just ties right into the track system there. So we've got a couple dry boxes there, some catfishing rigs. It's 100 degrees, so we got the fly swatter and the fan out. I got the planer boards back there for trolling. This side here, you can see I've got just a ton of rods laid on the catwalk. Been doing a lot of buffalo and carp fishing lately, so I got the big net and the small net. We've got the adult beverage refrigerator there, camera gear there. I've got my bait cooler just there, and then we'll move up here. So like I said, summertime. We've got the bimini top and then the umbrella. The umbrella ties into this seat post up here, so if we're fishing in the front of the boat, I can literally shade this whole boat. Pretty nice. And then moving up to the front here, we've got the additional Garmin unit. I put that on a custom extended mount that I built, working out real well. And then trolling motor and everything else. So, you know, not a lot has changed. I got a couple extra just rod holders here, just for whenever you catch a fish or something, you don't want to lay your rod down. These are normally for all my spider rigging rods, but we're not spider rigging this time of year right now, so just keep those out. So anyway, whoa. All right, so like I said, not a lot has changed, but I thought you guys might be interested in just seeing this boat after a year. The lining, let me talk about the lining a little bit. So I've got a lot of questions about the lining. So it's legitimately 100 degrees right now. Heat index is like 106. And as you can see here, I can take my shoes off, put my bare feet on the floor. It's warm at 100 degrees. I'm not gonna say it isn't. Anything below 90 degrees though, you can put your feet on this floor for, you know, all day. Once you break kind of that 90-degree mark, it does get warm. But with the bimini tops and the umbrellas up, you're just fine to run barefoot in here. I've pressure washed this thing multiple times. It's held up to a pressure washer great. And you know, if I was to ever do this again, I would go with this product. I'm very happy on how it has held up. It's a hard rubber coating, but it's still got just a little bit of give to it. So I've been very happy with that. So other than that, guys, there's not a lot to say here other than, you know, I've been using this boat for a year. I put a ton of hours on it, and it's performed very well for me. Trailer's done the same. I've been very happy with everything. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I did that kind of 6-7 month, you know, prep time where I fished out of it hard and kind of got everything just how I wanted it before I kind of finalized it. I still haven't painted it. I keep saying I'm going to do that, but I just haven't really had the time. Hopefully I'll get it painted here before the fall. I would like to get it painted. but you know, I don't see it right now, so it really doesn't bug me. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna sign off here, make this video kind of short and sweet. Remember, if you guys would like to see a full breakdown of what this boat cost me, remember, you gotta hit that like button. 5,000 likes and I'll do that video. It's gonna be a ton of work for me putting that video together, so you guys gotta play your part too and help me out. So anyway, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. It was a fun video to make. You know, it's neat to see something that, you know, somebody builds and then does a review after the fact, you know, because you see the finished product and you're like, well, that looks great. How's it gonna look, you know, with some use or in a year's time or something? So here it is. This is after, you know, 300 hours on the motor, a couple thousand hours of fishing out of it at least, and 15,000 miles rolling down the road, right? In just over a year. So it's been well used, and I think it's got, you know, it'll do me for many more years. I've been very happy with it. So with that being said, guys, I'm gonna sign off. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember, hit that thumbs up button, leave me a comment. I love reading the comments. Until next time, guys, we'll see y'all in the next video. I appreciate it.